Have you heard of HIV/AIDS? Of course you have. But here's the thing. Many of us think HIV is somebody else's problem. It is not. India has a very large HIV burden.
We still have an estimated 2.5 million people living with HIV and tens and thousands of new infections that happen every year, especially among the young people and some key populations.
In 2024 alone, more than 32,000 people died of HIV.
In the last 40 years in my work with HIV, I have been exposed and worked closely with all marginalized communities. It is a very sad state of affairs that stigma still exists. Only 15 days ago, an HIV positive person was refused a simple surgery of appendicitis removal in 3 government hospitals in Mumbai. If this can happen in a metro like Mumbai, I wonder what will happen in smaller districts.
So what actually is HIV? It is a virus that attacks the body's immune system. If not treated, then over time the immune system becomes weaker. One gets serious life-threatening infections and illnesses like pneumonia, tuberculosis or fungal infections. HIV also leads to depression and anxiety. In advanced stages, it may affect brain and nerves. HIV increases the risk of some types of cancers as the immune system becomes too weak to protect the body. The good news is that HIV is no longer a life-threatening disease if a person gets medicines regularly. With treatment, people can lead a normal life, work, love, and live long just like others. And what's more, science has advanced so much that now there is a medicine, an injection, that can prevent HIV from happening. It has the potential to remove HIV from the face of the earth. That injection is Lenacapavir.
Lenacapavir is a new class of drug which has a transformative potential, not only for treatment of HIV but also for the prevention of HIV. It is also very effective in people who have multi-drug resistance to HIV.
Lenacapavir, when added to the basket of other prevention tools, can really change the landscape of HIV. The number of new infections can go down drastically and we will come closer to eliminating AIDS by 2030. Because with Lenacapavir, the stigma is out. With Lenacapavir, it's just 2 injections a year.
The United States FDA has approved it, and the World Health Organization has welcomed this approval. But now comes the tragic story. Gilead, the US pharma company, started selling Lenacapavir at a shocking price of more than 25 lakh rupees per person per year.
It later reduced the price and also entered into a voluntary licensing with 6 manufacturers to provide the drug at the price of $40 per patient per year to 120 low and middle income countries. Of these 6 manufacturers, 4 were from India, namely Dr. Reddy's, Heterolabs, Emcure and Mylan.
Some of these companies signed an agreement with international organizations to produce Lenacapavir for nearly 3,600 rupees for countries like India. So you would think, great, finally we can push HIV towards the end game. Prices are affordable and India with such a high burden should get it quickly. But the greed of Big Pharma is not letting this happen despite the price drop. The injection is still not available in India. And that's because Gilead has not registered it here. It may sound like a small technical step, but without registration, Lenacapavir cannot be produced or sold in India. Further, the Indian regulatory authorities are not waiving off the phase 3 clinical trials, something the global HIV community has been demanding to speed up access. This means registration will be delayed even if companies decide to apply.
On paper, the voluntary licensing agreement looks like a very positive step, but if you look at the granularity of the situation, it's very different.
According to the licensing agreement, Gilead decides where the medicine can be sold and at what rate. Yes, it covers 120 countries. Sounds huge, but it excludes many countries with high HIV burden like Brazil and Argentina.
In many of these areas, there is a rapid increase in the number of HIV cases and hence these people will be locked out of affordable Lenacapavir for years.
This means Gilead still controls the map. And when one company controls the map, real generic competition gets blocked. That's the competition that normally brings prices down and makes sure there is enough supply.
There is also a very large structural problem with the voluntary licensing as it is currently practiced. It does not allow companies to enter the market and it kills competition by design. There are a very large number of generic manufacturers of antiretroviral drugs in India, but in the presence of a voluntary licensing, patent bottlenecks, these manufacturers cannot manufacture a low-cost Lenacapavir and supply it to the excluded countries.
But HIV doesn't respect borders. As long as HIV persists anywhere, it can spread anywhere, including India. Excluding high-burden countries is not only unfair but a serious threat for global public health. That's why voluntary licensing is not enough. Gilead has also filed a number of patent applications to extend its monopoly beyond the original patent, a tactic known as evergreening. These large number of patent applications clearly shows that Gilead wants to circumvent the anti-evergreening provisions in the Indian Patents Act, such as Section 3D.
We cannot allow a system where the future of HIV treatment is actually controlled by restrictive licenses and patent and regulatory bottlenecks. We need policies that support open competition and true affordability and accessibility, because access to treatment should not be a charity. It is a right for people around the world.
If the government of India shows the political willingness, we can have it made for under $40, which is definitely something that they can afford to give the millions of people who need it.
So the demands of the HIV community are simple. Register Lenacapavir quickly in India. Waive local phase 3 clinical trial requirements. Reject all evergreening patent applications. Ensure affordable generics. And stop letting corporate gatekeeping decide who gets to be protected from HIV.